Life won't go easy on you. There will be moments when you fail, get betrayed, feel lost in chaos, and sense everything slipping out of control. In those moments, one truth becomes clear. Inner strength matters more than external circumstances, and a calm, steady mind is worth more than 1,000 words of comfort. So, how do you build mental resilience in a world that never stops shifting? The answer lies in Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that once guided emperors, warriors, and everyday people through life's storms with clarity, reason, and self-discipline. Stoicism doesn't promise an easy life. What it offers is a set of tools to face adversity with composure, to stay grounded when emotions surge, and to live with intention in the midst of chaos. In this video, you'll explore 15 Stoic meditations, powerful reflections that can help you grow tougher, wiser, and free from the grip of fear or fleeting desires. If you're ready to step out of your comfort zone and take control of your life, this is where it begins. Number 1. Wake with purpose. Every morning, there are two kinds of people: those who reach for their phones like a reflex, and those who open their eyes as if stepping into something sacred. The difference isn't about circumstances, it's about awareness. One begins the day in distraction, the other in self-mastery. And here's the irony. Most of us choose to become shadows of ourselves from the very first moment. No one teaches you that how you start your day can shape your entire life. But the Stoics knew this well. Epictetus once said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." So, who do you want to be when you get out of bed? Someone who lives with intention, or a hollow shell repeating yesterday's habits? It sounds simple, but every time you answer honestly, you live a little deeper. You don't have to change the world at 6 a.m., but you can do one small thing. Place a glass of water by your bed and drink it like a ritual. Step outside, breathe in deeply, and ask yourself, if today were my last, how would I live differently? That's not being dramatic. It's the antidote to delay. Benjamin Franklin asked himself each morning, "What good shall I do this day?" Not to chase success, but to avoid wasting life. Waking up consciously is an act of resistance against sleepwalking through life. It's hitting reset each morning with a clearer version of yourself. No one wakes up wise, but anyone can choose not to wake up blind. And when you start your day with that kind of presence, a hard but liberating truth comes into focus. Life truly begins when you realize there are no second takes. Number 2, you only get one shot. There comes a strange moment in life, not loud, not tragic, but one that turns everything upside down. It's when you suddenly realize there's no second try, no rough draft, no do-over for the years that have passed. And life, real life, begins right there, when that truth hits you like a slap that wakes you up. Ironically, we often live as if we're immortal. We put off what matters. We avoid hard conversations. We file our dreams under someday. But have you ever seen someday on a calendar? It's easy to schedule a meeting for next week, but no one plans for the last time they'll hold a loved one's hand, or the last time they'll look up at a clear blue sky. I once met a man who spent a decade climbing the corporate ladder to become a director, only to realize he'd traded away every moment that truly mattered. Kite-flying afternoons with his daughter, unhurried hugs. As he told the story, his eyes stayed dry, but his voice was ragged, like he'd swallowed his own life. Stoicism doesn't tell us to rush through life. It teaches us to live it right. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." Try this. Stand in front of a mirror each morning, look yourself in the eye, and ask, if today were my last, am I being kind to myself? It's a small question, but it can shift the direction of a day, or even a life. From that moment on, you begin to live with intention. You learn what deserves your time and what you need to let go of. And on that journey, you realize, to truly live, sometimes the most important thing isn't to hold on, but to release. That's what we'll explore in the next lesson. Number 3, let go to grow. There are times when what exhausts you isn't your circumstances, but the silent resistance within. You refuse to admit you were wrong. You can't accept that someone has left. You fight the truth that some things simply can't be changed. But here's the thing, that resistance is the real weight you're carrying. Acceptance isn't surrender, it's courage. It's looking reality in the eye and saying, I can't change this, but I can choose how to live with it. Stoicism doesn't tell you to give up. It teaches you to let go wisely. Let go of what you can't control so you can take charge of what you can. Your responses, your choices, your actions. A mother who lost her only child to war didn't collapse under grief. She chose to build a center for orphans. That wasn't forgetting the pain. It was transforming it. No one forced her to let go. She simply realized that holding on would destroy whatever life she had left. In Stoic philosophy, faith isn't blind hope that everything will be fine. It's the quiet strength to say, even if things aren't fine, I will be. That kind of confidence isn't built on wishful thinking, but on action. As Epictetus put it, don't hope that events will turn out the way you want. Welcome events in whichever way they happen. This is the path to peace. Faith doesn't require smooth roads, only a steady heart. Letting go starts with a simple practice. Write down 3 things that weigh on your heart right now. Cross out the ones beyond your control. For what remains, choose one small action you can take today, whether it's making a phone call, deleting a message, or just deciding not to replay the past in your mind again. Even the Bible reminds us, cast your cares on the Lord, and He will sustain you. Peace doesn't come from how much you can hold on to. It comes from how much you're willing to release to move forward. Because if your hands are full of the past, how will you grasp what matters now? Your time, your voice, your chance, before they slip away. Number 4, mind your moments. Here's a strange truth. We willingly trade our most precious time to watch meaningless videos, yet hesitate to make that call to a father we haven't spoken to in years. We say, I'm fine, when we're breaking inside, but spend hours arguing with strangers online. Time, words, and opportunities. These 3 leave quietly. without warning, but their absence is always felt. You can't take back a harsh word spoken in anger. You can't rewind to grab a chance that passed you by. And you certainly can't relive yesterday to choose differently. If the mind were a warehouse, words would be the most fragile items stored inside. The more we speak without thought, the more we cheapen the things that truly matter. And time is a door that keeps closing, inch by inch. Every day you postpone, another door shuts. Every moment you choose distraction over presence, an opportunity slips past before you even knew it arrived. Here's something simple, but powerful. Every morning, ask yourself, what if I don't do it today? Will I regret tonight? That one question becomes an anchor in a sea of noise. It pulls your attention back to what actually matters. With consistent practice, you'll begin choosing the right calls to answer, the right words to speak, and the right things to let go. Thomas Edison worked 16 hours a day, not because he did more, but because he focused on what mattered. Maybe you don't need more hours. Maybe you just need to stop pouring them into what drains you. And if you're looking for a space that helps you center yourself, regain focus, and move with purpose, you're already here. Subscribing to this channel isn't just about more content. It's a choice to invest your time in something that sharpens your clarity, builds your resilience, and keeps you awake in a world that profits from your distraction. Number 5. Be the eye of the storm. There are days when life feels like it's trying to swallow you whole. Everything hits at once. Work spirals out of control. Misunderstandings flare up with loved ones. Your health wavers, and your confidence starts to crack. You scramble to keep up, react, snap, panic, and eventually burn out. But somehow, you still make it through. Not because the chaos fades, but because something inside you has shifted. You're not panicking the way you used to. That's inner peace. Not the calm that comes when life is smooth, but the strength to stay grounded when everything's falling apart. Stoicism doesn't ask you to become a cold, emotionless rock. It teaches you to be selective about where you invest your energy. A careless comment, does it really need a response? A failed plan, is it truly a defeat? A friend's silence, does it always mean betrayal? Most pain doesn't come from the event itself, but from the story we tell ourselves about it. So, if you change the story, can you change the feeling? Think of an ER doctor. They face life and death every day, yet don't let their emotions dictate their actions. Not because they don't feel, but because they know. If they lose composure, a patient might lose their chance to live. It's the same for you. When emotions take over, fear drives your choices instead of wisdom. To build that kind of presence, start small. Every time you feel yourself unraveling, anchor yourself with a simple act. Place your hand over your heart. Take a 5-minute walk without your phone, or ask, will this still matter to me in 5 days? These tiny rituals are the kind of intentional training Stoics see as essential because they teach you to respond with purpose, not react on impulse. When you're steady on the inside, you no longer need the world to be gentle for you to feel at peace. That steadiness frees you from chasing approval or external validation. And that's when you're ready for the next lesson. Number 6. Celebrate quiet wins. A lion doesn't need to roar to prove it's the king. It knows its worth, and that's enough. Likewise, some of life's greatest victories don't need applause. No spotlight, no praise. Just you, standing still, quietly smiling to yourself. Because deep down, you understand the most sacred things often lose their power when spoken aloud. The more you share, the thinner they become. The more you show off, the more you strip away the essence. Have you ever had a moment like that, when you pulled yourself up after a crushing fall and told no one? When you forgave someone without saying a word about it? When you kept going, training, learning, breaking old habits, even though no one noticed? Those quiet victories don't make noise, but they shape you more deeply than any compliment ever could, because they were forged in silence, not in someone else's gaze. Here's the funny thing. People say joy doubles when shared, but some kinds of joy, the moment you speak of them, they lose their soul. Like pouring pure water into too many cups, the clarity fades. The craving for validation is addictive, and once you rely on it, you lose control. Even if the victory is yours, the reward ends up in someone else's hands. Want to build true strength? Start by keeping some things for yourself. The next time you accomplish something, resist the urge to tell. Take a walk alone. Make yourself a cup of tea. Jot a note in an old journal. Do something small, but enough to remind yourself, I'm on the right path. The world doesn't need to know. That you know is enough. Once you're quiet enough to hear yourself, you'll realize not everything deserves your time. Silence is just the beginning, but to protect it, you'll need to learn to say no. Let's take that step next. Number 7. Say no like you mean yes to yourself. There's a strange kind of wealth we all share equally each day. Some invest it wisely, others let it slip away unnoticed. That wealth is time. Stoicism teaches us that time isn't just a resource, it is life itself. You are not truly living when you're merely busy. You're living when your time is spent on what genuinely matters. So why do we so often give it away to conversations that drain us? Obligations we never wanted, relationships that leave us empty. Saying no sounds simple, yet for many, it's one of the hardest things to do. We're afraid of seeming rude. We don't want to disappoint. We crave approval. However, Stoic wisdom reminds us that self-respect cannot be built on the foundation of constant people-pleasing. Every time you say yes out of guilt or fear, you say no to yourself, to your peace of mind, your focus, your autonomy. Imagine you're the guardian of a precious garden. Each careless yes is like opening the gate for strangers to trample over your still-growing plants. The cost of being agreeable isn't just a few lost hours, it's the inner chaos that follows. Saying no isn't cold, it's care. It's you protecting the mental and emotional space where your best self grows. Want a practical start? Write down 3 things you usually say yes to that leave you feeling drained. Pick one. Say no to it this week. You'll be surprised. No one will crumble because you declined, but you will feel more alive, more grounded. And once you've learned to guard your time, a deeper question awaits. How do you stay kind without losing yourself in the expectations of others? That's what the next lesson explores, the delicate line where compassion ends and self-sacrifice begins. Number 8. Protect your emotional space. You are not a shelter for other people's emotions. Just because someone is angry doesn't mean you're wrong. Just because they're sad doesn't mean you need to fix it. Just because they're disappointed doesn't mean you owe them anything. In a world overflowing with emotional noise, it's far too easy to fall into the role of the unchosen healer, someone who carries the weight of everyone else's storms. We think we're being kind, but more often than not, we're simply blurring the line between compassion and self-abandonment. Stoicism teaches us that each person is responsible for their mind and emotions. You can care deeply without carrying the burden. You can listen without losing yourself. When a friend is going through heartbreak, you can sit with them, hold space for them, but you don't need to drown in their sorrow to prove your love. Think of yourself as a firekeeper. Your inner fire must stay alive to warm yourself and those truly in need. But if you keep throwing your energy into fires that only burn and never give back, it's only a matter of time before you're left in ashes. The danger lies in this quiet belief that to be a good person, we must always give, always say yes, always be available. But kindness without boundaries isn't a virtue. It's a fast track to emotional exhaustion. Ask yourself, how often do you say, "It's okay," when it's really not? How often do you say yes while your whole being wants to say no? These aren't signs of strength. They're signals that you've gone too long without protecting your own emotional space. Ask yourself gently, am I doing this out of love or out of fear of being judged? The answer may surprise you. Begin small. Next time someone comes to you overwhelmed, resist the urge to fix it. Let them speak. Let them sit with their own discomfort. You're not here to repair the world. You're here to stay rooted in yours. And if you've made it this far, you've already shown something powerful, patience and presence. We're only halfway through. Every lesson ahead is another key to building a life of inner strength and clarity. Stay with me. The full picture is worth it. Number 9. Too much of anything can hurt. Have you ever felt drained, not from work, not from heartbreak, but from giving too much of yourself away? Not everyone will tell you this, but the quiet truth is, you can wear yourself out by oversharing your thoughts, placing too much trust too soon, or loving someone more than you love yourself. Stoicism teaches us this. Not every door needs to be open, and not everyone deserves full access to your inner world. We grow up believing that to live well is to live all out. Speak your mind, bare your heart, love without guard, trust without fear. But kindness without boundaries eventually becomes exhaustion. You pour your heart into someone because they seem to care, only to be misunderstood. You give your trust freely and get betrayed. You love with everything and end up with nothing left for yourself. How often do you stop and ask, who am I doing this for? And what's left of me when it's done? Try holding something back. A pause before speaking. A layer of thought unspoken. A gentle restraint before you offer your heart. You're not becoming cold. You're learning to protect your peace. Like a blacksmith keeping the fire in the forge, not letting it burn wild and destroy the very place it was meant to shape. Starting today, speak a little less, listen a little longer, and slow down just a moment before you give your trust away. Small changes, quiet strength. When you learn to hold back, you don't lose your warmth, you gain depth. And when you have depth, you don't break when life hits hard. You rise, you rebuild, because, as the next lesson reminds us, failure is not the end, it's the foundation from which the strongest souls rise. Number 10. Failure is the beginning. There's an irony in life that few talk about. We're taught to chase success, but rarely taught how to handle failure. So when failure comes, losing a job, a relationship falling apart, feeling completely lost, we often mistake it for a full stop. But Stoicism teaches us otherwise. Failure isn't the end, it's a redirection. It doesn't close doors. It nudges us toward paths we might not have chosen, but deeply needed. Think back to your most recent failure. At the time, it felt like everything collapsed. But months or years later, didn't a part of you whisper, maybe it was for the best? Failure teaches what success never can: humility, endurance, and the courage to see yourself clearly. Without failure, we don't discover where our true limits lie or how far we're capable of expanding them. Stoics don't suggest you pretend everything's fine. They urge you to face it, to ask, what can I still control in this moment? And how can I respond in a way that strengthens me? They treat failure like a stern teacher, not comforting, not easy, but fair. Failure isn't punishment, it's feedback. And reality always speaks with honesty, even if it whispers through discomfort. Think of Thomas Edison. He didn't fail 1,000 times making the light bulb. He discovered 1,000 ways that didn't work. The real question is never, how do I avoid failure? It's, how do I return stronger after it? If you're in the middle of a struggle now, choose one small thing you can still control. Maybe a call you've been avoiding, a habit you can practice today. Do that. Keep doing it. Don't wait for motivation to strike. Build it, moment by moment, action by action. Because once you've learned how to rise, the next step matters even more. How do you build the best version of yourself? Consistently, daily, not in grand leaps, but through quiet, deliberate growth. The person who gets back up may not be the strongest, but they're the one who evolves. Number 11, strive for your highest self. No one becomes themselves overnight. We are not shaped by rare, grand moments, but by the small, repeated choices we make every day. The Stoics teach that to live wisely and steadily, we must treat personal transformation as a daily priority, not a side project, but a constant pursuit. What you choose, think, and do today all shape who you're becoming. Don't wait for motivation. It rarely shows up. Resilient people aren't always inspired. They simply keep doing what needs to be done, even when their minds are screaming to quit. Discipline in an ordinary person is like a farmer tending the soil day after day, even before seeing a single sprout. It's a choice, quiet, unglamorous, but far more powerful than any flashy declaration. You don't need to change the world. Just change how you face your morning. Start small. Lay out your clothes the night before so you're not scrambling at sunrise. Leave yourself a note that says, "Today I will be patient." Put it somewhere you'll see. These small acts, when done with intention, become the solid ground where a better version of you begins to grow. Even the Bible reminds us, "Whatever you have learned or received or heard from me or seen in me, put it into practice, and the God of peace will be with you." Knowledge alone doesn't bring peace. Action does. There is no perfect version of you. There is only the commitment to move forward, slowly, tiredly, invisibly. But be warned, the things that seem harmless, procrastination, laziness, and being too soft on yourself, can quietly build up into a heavy drag on your progress. That's why we must confront the next lesson about bad habits, the sweetest, most ruthless enemy we often nurture without knowing. Number 12. The slow poison of bad routine. Some traps are sugar-coated. Bad habits are one of them. They don't shout warnings or wear scary faces. Instead, they're gentle, familiar, and deceptively harmless. Sleeping in for just 15 more minutes, grabbing a late-night snack after 10 p.m., or mindlessly scrolling your phone during work. These small acts, repeated day after day, don't just steal your time. They quietly chip away at your self-discipline, which the Stoics saw as the foundation of personal strength. The Stoics taught, if you can't rule yourself, don't expect to rule anything else in life. The irony? Many people don't realize they're being ruled by seemingly harmless habits. They say, "I'm just unwinding," when they're avoiding. They claim, "I deserve to be comfortable," while staying in their comfort zones so long that growth turns into stagnation. The danger of a bad habit isn't the action itself, it's the justification. It's the way the mind tells itself stories to avoid the truth. Ever asked yourself, does this make me stronger or just more comfortable? It's a simple question, but an uncomfortable one, because it forces us to confront our everyday choices. A friend of mine used to smoke because of work stress. Only after quitting did he realize the real pressure came from delaying what needed to be done. Fighting bad habits isn't about becoming harsh or perfect. Stoicism doesn't call us to be saints. It calls us to be aware. Instead of scrolling when you're bored, take a 10-minute walk. Call a friend you trust. Instead of letting "I'm not in the mood" stop you, just start with the smallest task on your list. Action, no matter how small, is how you reclaim power from your habits. Bad habits are like a slow leak in a dam, harmless at first, but eventually they can break the whole thing. Is there a leak in your life right now? If so, how long will you wait before you patch it? Share your story in the comments. I genuinely love to hear your story. Number 13. Your health is the foundation. You can't think clearly on an empty stomach, just like you can't stay calm after nights of broken sleep. A sharp mind needs a strong body, not as a slogan, but as a lived truth. Stoicism teaches us that if you want to master your emotions, start by mastering your body. Someone who can't manage their eating, sleeping, or movement habits will struggle to stay grounded when life throws them off balance. Picture this. You rush through instant noodles for lunch, sleep 4 hours, and sit for 8 hours without moving. Now, imagine someone says something that irritates you. Odds are, you'll snap. But if you've rested well, eaten with care, and moved your body, you'll have the strength to pause, breathe, and choose your response. That's inner freedom, the kind Stoics believe is worth more than gold. You don't build a strong body for appearances. You build it to live deeply, with presence. Caring for the body is a moral practice. Exercise isn't just for weight loss, it's a way to build discipline. Eating mindfully isn't about restriction, it's about respect. Sleeping on time isn't laziness, it's an act of love for your future self. These small acts become the groundwork for bigger choices. A solid foundation makes everything else more stable. Start simple. Drink a glass of water when you wake up. Take a 10-minute walk after lunch. Turn off your phone 30 minutes before bed. These may seem insignificant, but try them for a week. And you'll notice your thoughts are clearer, your mood lifts, and your decisions sharpen. Ask yourself, what would your life look like if you treated your body like your closest friend? Once your body becomes your stronghold, the next thing you need isn't more noise, it's quiet. Prepare yourself for the next lesson. Number 14. Privacy nurtures peace. Everyone needs a place to return to, not a house, but an inner space where the mind can breathe without having to perform. Protecting your privacy isn't about being distant or cold. It's a wise way to live in a noisy world. The Stoics taught this. To be strong, you must first be still. True strength isn't born in applause, but in the quiet, unseen hours when you face yourself, honestly, without defenses. Have you ever felt drained after a day full of socializing, even if it was just small stuff? A message, a chat, a few comments online. These can chip away at your mental energy when you lack boundaries. Modern life confuses contact with connection. We talk to hundreds of people each week, yet often fail to connect with anyone, especially ourselves. That's why you need to shrink your circle and close a few doors that have stayed open too long. Think of a full jar of water. Leave it uncovered, and dust will settle in. The water will evaporate, and soon it's empty. Your mind works the same way. If everyone has access, if every opinion is allowed in, how can you keep your clarity? Guarding your private space doesn't weaken your place in society, it sharpens it. It helps you choose deeper relationships over wider ones. Fewer people, but more meaningful ones. People who don't rush you to go faster, but stand beside you when you need to be still. You can start small. Don't respond to every message right away. Don't share every plan with others. Don't post every feeling online in search of understanding. Instead, write it down for yourself. Listen closely. Beneath all the noise, what is it that you really want? Because in the end, keeping your private space isn't about retreating from the world. It's about stepping into it with greater clarity. And when you're clear, you'll realize what's holding you back isn't fear of failure, but the false comfort of safety. And that's the final threshold you must cross. Number 15. Comfort zones kill potential. Have you ever noticed that the things making you feel safe are often the very things keeping you stuck? A stable job that no longer challenges you. A relationship that's grown stale but feels familiar. These choices might give you peace of mind, but they can also suffocate your desire to grow. Staying in your comfort zone is the most subtle way to trade your potential for temporary ease. Stoicism teaches us that stability shouldn't be the goal of life. It's just a resting point before you move forward. Picture an athlete who only trains at the easiest level to avoid muscle soreness. That person will never get stronger. Our minds work the same way. They need a challenge to grow. And with challenge comes risk. But the real fear isn't failure. It's never having truly lived. How many chances have you missed just because you were afraid you wouldn't do well enough? How many things do you wish you'd started sooner? Stoicism doesn't ask you to be reckless. It calls you to act even when fear is still present. Because the value of progress always outweighs the fear of rejection. Here's the twist. Change doesn't require a giant leap. A small step, taken in the right direction and repeated with intention, can quietly transform your life. Send the job application you've been avoiding. Say the thing you've been holding back. Learn the skill you told yourself you're not naturally good at. That's how you leave your comfort zone, not by running, but by refusing to stay still. So, what will you choose? A safe but colorless bubble, or a journey full of bumps, where each day you feel more alive, more awake? Life won't wait for you to be ready. It moves with those who move. So ask yourself, what are you still waiting for? We've just explored 15 Stoic-inspired meditations, quiet yet weighty reminders for anyone trying to live fully in a world that never stops shifting. Each lesson is a milestone on the journey back to the strength and wisdom you already carry, even if you sometimes forget it's there. From waking up with intention, knowing when to say no, to stepping beyond your comfort zone, to honor your deepest desires, these aren't abstract theories. They're daily conversations with yourself. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be brave. Brave enough to face your fears. Brave enough to rise after every fall. Brave enough to choose depth over distraction. That's what Stoic philosophy offers. A grounded mindset and deep clarity, so that even when life shakes, you stay rooted in who you are. If this video made you pause, reflect, and maybe want to live a little differently, then I believe it's done its job. Hit the like button to keep us motivated, and subscribe so you won't miss the lessons that speak to the strongest part of you. Because you don't have to be a philosopher to live like a Stoic. You just have to begin today.